What do you think is faster at loading games? A PS5 with an old hard disk drive or a PS4 with a newer solid state drive? In this video, we'll do some tests to see what pairing works the best so that you can decide if it's finally time for you to upgrade to a PS5. Or maybe all you need is a hard drive at 10% the price of the PS5. You've probably heard before how much faster the PS5 is at loading games than the PS4. What we're going to do is do some tests on games new and old and see how vast the difference is when it comes to loading times. We'll find out what kind of games benefit the most. Some are blazing fast, and for some, it barely makes a difference. We'll be using an original PlayStation 4, a basic external drive, a newer solid-state drive, and a PlayStation 5 with an onboard M.2 SSD. If you're like me, you don't care that much about 4K graphics and ray tracing, but what you do care about is time wasted staring at a screen. 2 to 3 minutes doesn't sound like that much initially, but if you see a loading screen more than once a day, you're probably looking at upwards of 10 minutes or more every day at a minimum. That's an hour every week you are just wasting just staring at a screen. That's 50 hours a year in loading screens. Anyways, I just wanted to put it into perspective for any non-gamers out there to just see how big of a deal loading times are. But enough about that. You're here for the speed comparison, so let's just jump right into it. We measured loading times for 4 different setups for a bunch of games. From this chart, you could see we got the PS5 base, the PS4 base or disk, the PS4 with an external SSD, and a PS5 with an external HDD. Pause the video, see the results on the chart, and you don't have to watch the rest of the video. Thanks for watching, and leave a like on your way out. Alright, now for those that stuck around, thank you very much. I appreciate you sticking around. We're going to jump into the nitty-gritty. The results weren't always obvious. We initially used PS4 games, older ones, to see if the PS5 can speed them up. And then we took it further by using games that have a PS5 version. This is where we get to see the true power of the PlayStation 5. So it still hasn't loaded yet. Is this seriously how long we have to wait? Just to play a game? Every single time we boot up? We have to wait this long? Wow, I've been way too spoiled by the PS5. I'm starting to forget my roots. So let's just speed this up to the end so we can move on. And there it goes. Finally playable. If you think that's bad, tune in at the end of the video to see GTA Online. It's another minute on top of this. Okay, let's get back to the results. Using an external solid-state drive on the PS4 saved us almost a whole minute. That's not bad for an upgrade that's less than $100. The PS5 with the old external hard drive was 21 seconds faster than the PS4 with the SSD external, which is not surprising because the onboard M.2 SSD is quite a bit faster than the external SSD. But I was expecting the old tech to bottleneck it a bit more for closer results. The PS4 game running fully on the PS5 with no wires, only the M.2 solid-state drive technology really made a difference. That's the bottleneck I was expecting. Now you can see its true power. Well, almost. It's still a 10-year-old game. Which brings us to the PS5 version of the game, which is the final boss's true form. New software running on new hardware. We gotta lower the chart for this one. It's half the time of our best result. That's crazy. Half a minute from booting up the game to controlling the character. This truly feels next gen. The base PS5 version loads over 6 times faster than the base PS4 version. Is that what you were expecting? Considering the PS5's version has much more bells and whistles in the graphics department? You're probably wondering what would happen if we put the slower HDD on the PS4. Is it faster? Is it slower? I did the tests and they were negligible compared to the difference the SSD made. I'm not going to comment on the times themselves anymore, and instead I'll just give you valuable information that goes beyond this result was faster, because you can clearly see for yourself which is faster. So the commentary from now on will be more educational. If you stick around, you'll learn a lot. Let's get back to HDDs. Eventually you will run out of space on your system, and and an external hard drive is a great way to have room to download all the games you want to play. A 4 terabyte hard drive is not too pricey, but will it be faster? I know I said the results for me were negligible, but there is a way. If you get a 7200 RPM hard drive instead of the more common 5400 RPM hard drive, you will see some marginal improvements. Again, nothing compared to solid state drive speeds though, but a little faster. Another factor that affects the speed is how full the hard drive is. Just like your computer, the less free space there is on it, the slower it'll run. Also very important is where you plug it in. Not all USB ports are created equal. On the PS5, there is one USB Type-C in the front that has super speed, but the USB Type-A right above it is only at high speed. Don't fret because we have more USB ports on the back. Even though the ports on the back are USB-A, they also can run at super speed as well. So there you go, learn something new. Make sure to plug in your external hard drive on the back ports of the PS5, or use the front USB-C. But chances are your headphones will be using the USB-C in the front. Okay, let's get back to the loading times for a second and see if you see the same things I'm seeing. It seems that the games that perform the best are not surprisingly games made for the PS5 and first-party games made by Sony. Older games like Batman, it barely made a difference whether you were using new versus old tech. At this point, I'd like to announce that Fallout 4 is officially coming to the PS5 this month, and if you have the PS4 version, it's a free upgrade. And I will do a quick video to see how much faster the new version will load. I have no idea what to expect because this old game still loads pretty fast. It's like half a minute for like a 10-year-old game at this point. So how much faster will it be? Now, let's talk about the invisible elephant in the room. Invisible? Yes, well, it's a big issue and everyone will have a problem with it, but it's not so obvious because it rarely gets talked about. Compatibility. Let's talk about the problems that come with upgrading to the PS5. It's not all sunshine and roses. First, there's progress. A few games let you upgrade from the PS4 to the PS5 version and your saved file can come along for the ride, but that's not too common. Most games, if you start a PS5 version, you're not able to import your old data, which means you have to start all over. Not only that, but games like GTA, where they do let you migrate your old saved data, have a whole different problem. No crossplay. That's right, the PS5 GTA Online is a different universe than the PS4 GTA Online, meaning that even though you can keep your cars and property in progress from the PS4, your friend list is gone. Unless they all upgrade to the PS5 version of the game, they're all still stuck in PS4 land. I'll repeat that again. PlayStation 4 friends can't play with PlayStation 5 friends on GTA Online and many other games. Now, there is a workaround to this. As you saw from the performance tests, I made sure to include the times of the PS4 version of the game running on the PlayStation 5. And as you saw from every result, next to running the PS5 version, the PS4 version running on PS5 came in second every time. So that means you don't even have to play the PS5 version. You can continue playing the PS4 version and keep all your save data and friends and still take advantage of the PS5's power. Backward compatibility is a win here. So why play the PS5 version? Well, aside from the graphics and the slightly faster load times, I neglected to mention home screen activity cards. These are controversial and not everyone uses them, but if you have a dozen side quests, these allow you to jump right into the relevant part of the game insanely quick by skipping the intro cinematics and getting you right to the action. It's the closest thing we have to quick resume, but unlike quick resume, with these you could jump around the game instead of just pausing and unpausing. But if this sounds too gimmicky, just play the PS4 version. It has so many benefits. Also worth mentioning that when you play a PS4 game on the PS5, you can still use a PS4 controller. So games like Apex and other shooters where back buttons make a huge difference, you can continue to use your $20 back button add-on instead of splurging on a $200 PS5 controller with similar features. In the same vein, let's talk about another big downside to the PlayStation 5 that you have to get used to. Although these external SSDs are fast, they're nowhere near as fast as onboard M.2 SSDs, which are the speeds required to run PS5 games. So that means you can't play PS5 games off of an external hard drive. PS4 games are fine, but PS5 games have to be moved back to internal storage before you can play them again, which means that an M.2 SSD upgrade is a must for every PS5 owner eventually. I will say though that the PS4 games running on the PS5 are the way these games were meant to be played, and hopefully these loading times have demonstrated that playing them off of an external drive is not the worst thing in the world. You just can't play PS5 games. And if you're okay with that, then go ahead and upgrade. Whatever you are currently playing, you'll have an improved experience. So just stick with the PS4 version. The way I see it is, either way, you're going to need to spend about $100 in the near future to have a place to store your games anyways, because you're running out of space. So if you're going to get a hard drive, splurge for an SSD because it will make a world of difference for your PS4 experience. When you do finally decide to upgrade to the PS5, these same games will be waiting for you on the exact same drive. I've actually tried this. You can save a game on a hard drive and switch back and forth between the PS4 and the PS5 if you have them in different households and still continue your progress. It's so much more convenient to bring a tiny drive that fits in your pocket than to haul the mini fridge that is the PS5, which barely fits into most backpacks. Alright, you made it to the end. Let's see how bad GTA Online really is. I'm gonna try to take a selfie with the Hollywood sign before the PS4 game loads. Let's see if we can make that happen. You don't have to stick around for the whole thing, you could just skip to the end. In the meantime, I'd like to give a shout out to my computer for not blowing up because running 5 videos at 1080 each got the fan burning like a PS4 trying to run a modern game. It sounded like a jet engine. This took a really long time to do, not because of the loading times, but because I had to transfer GTA, which is 100 gigs, forward and backward between USB drives several times. This took days to accomplish. What games did I miss that have a notoriously long loading time? Comment below. So thank you all for watching, and until next time, be a friend and I'll see you again.